it's a place where you can hike and have a wilderness experience, but you don't have to travel 3-4 hours or get on a plane ride to do it.
It's all for the public. That's what we're here for. It's their land. They should be able to access it.
I think the close proximity and yet how rugged and the feeling of being remote it is special.
These special lands are part of the Midpeninsula Regional Open Space District, 62,000 acres of public lands that stretch over San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Santa Cruz counties, and all accessible through a web of trails 225 miles long and growing.
A trail is really an extraordinary tool for getting people to see a landscape, but a trail changes a landscape too, and if it's done right, it can change it for the better, and I think that Midpen knows how to do that.
Midpen's dedicated team of planners and trail builders know there's an art and a science to trail building.
So you're at about 11.
A lot of care goes into how you design the trails, how you build the drainage, where you put them, the kinds of material you put them in.
A well-built trail begins with a well-developed plan, and each trail requires a rigorous design and permitting process.
It's for bikes, so that it's wide enough.
A year to design, a year to permit, a year to construct is usually what it takes. When the public finally sees a trail go in, it's a big deal for them, but it's an even bigger deal for us because it took so long. We know the backstory.
Designing a trail often begins with walking over rough mountainous terrain to flag a route. The goal is to maintain a gentle grade of less than 10%. That's good for trail users and minimizes water erosion during fierce winter storms.
It's a very hard thing to do when you're walking out here, to imagine what that trail is going to look like once it's actually built.
Okay, you want 7%, right?
Laying out the trail route isn't only about finding the right grade through the forest. It's also about connecting people to nature and creating an unforgettable experience.
You go on Google Maps and it's going to tell you how to get from point A to point B, but out on the trail, it's all about what's in between point A and point B that make it special.
Once a route has been established and the planning team has secured permits, crews begin their work, turning plans on paper into trails on the landscape.
First, the trees have to be removed, and then all this duff needs to be removed.
The excavators follow the hand crews and are deftly used like precision instruments, cutting rolls and dips, stabilizing the banks, and contouring the new trails to the land, all the while keeping their environmental impact as small as possible.
That's always a goal of ours, is try to not disturb the areas as little as possible. We're really careful, even the moss on the wood, if we can, we try not to bump into that, so everything's in place and intact when we come through here once we're done.
There's a whole kind of science to it, and an eye that you get after you've worked with someone who's done it for their 20, 30 years.
Well, the trails are the part of the preserve that brings them all together. It allows the public to get from one preserve to the other, not only in our system, but in the bigger system, in the bigger Bay Area picture.
That bigger picture includes the Bay Area Ridge Trail, a high ridgeline trail that will eventually give all of us the chance to circumnavigate the entire Bay Area.
The district is undoubtedly the most important Ridge Trail public agency partner in San Mateo County.
Someday, the Ridge Trail will be over 500 miles long. So far, 330 miles of the trail have been built, with much of the work on Midpen lands.
It, in a way, stitches all the elements of the Greenbelt together. It's long range and it's collaborative.
Midpen staff are thinking long-term as they design all their trails. They're carefully constructing these paths through nature to stand the test of time.
We're leaving something behind that people in the future will be able to enjoy, and so that gives me a good feeling.
It's leaving a legacy behind for people to enjoy their open space, and that's the most important thing, because it is theirs. It is theirs to enjoy, and it's for everybody.
We provide the trails, we provide the maps, we provide the places for them to park. Users provide their shoes.